welcome to your vitality and your values. Tonight's live stream training on a really important subject, something I'm really excited about, something I work with a lot with people, and something that's also been tremendously useful to me in my life in all sorts of ways, both in terms of my health and my vitality, but otherwise as well. So tonight is a bit of a departure from what we've been doing in the previous live streams, talking about mental health and how you can, and how your body's trying to tell you things by the specific symptoms that are arising in your body. We're looking at two main areas. We're looking at vitality and what it is, and we're going to look at something that's very linked and very important, which is your values. So I'm just going to start out really by talking about vitality and what it is. Now, a lot of people think that vitality is interchangeable with health. It's the first thing that people think of when the word vitality is mentioned. Oh, that's just your health. It's a lot more than that. It's really, you could describe it as your zest for life, your zing, the way you approach life. It involves energy, it involves enthusiasm, elan, your general passion for your life, and it has an impact on absolutely everything that you do. So it has an impact on how you show up in the work that you do. It has an impact on your health. It has an impact on your relationships, how you are when you're spending time with the people that you love, and so much more than that as well. So it's a really, really important thing in your life. And in the context of this group, Feel Better, Heal Better, which is about learning how to heal yourself and also take that knowledge to create a thriving and healthy life on your terms, vitality is ultra important, whether you are going through a healing process from specific symptoms, or whether you are just want to maintain an optimum level of energy and well-being. It's not just a physical thing at all. It's really the opposite of that. I've got a guide where I've identified 7 pillars of vitality, and just very quickly, there we're looking at social and environmental factors, physical factors, which includes things like diet, exercise, sleep, sex life, and the other physical factors in your life. Then we've got the emotional and the energetic side of things. So 2 different but very interrelated areas there. Purpose and meaning. So whatever the meaning or purpose in your life, having a strong meaning, a strong reason is very important for your vitality. Then we've also got a connection to something bigger, which is, I guess you could call that a spiritual aspect, the understanding of something profound and deep, again, whatever that means to you, so long as you've got that. But all of these things are things that can enrich and enhance your vitality, so that energy and lust for life, and the way of showing up in the world that you've got. But the really, really reason that it's important to have a high level of vitality is that, especially if you're healing from something. Now, just if you remember from the previous live streams, we're looking at the highs and lows of a healing cycle, where you've got the stress phase, then you've got the regeneration phase, where you can feel very tired and have all sorts of symptoms actually happening. And then within that regeneration phase, you've also got a healing peak that happens, which is like a stress test for your body. And because we're talking about nature here, and natural processes, at any point in this healing cycle, it can become all too much for your body. Because after all, at some point, we've all got to check out currently, and going through a very strong healing process when you're very low on vitality can mean that these stress test points, like, you know, if you're in a very high stress phase for a very long time, or if you're in a very deep level of regeneration and the symptoms become too much for your body, or if the healing peak is too powerful, an example could be a heart attack or something like that that could come up for people. Then if your vitality, your life energy, your life force, whatever is too low, then there is a risk that can be the end for you, really. So maintaining vitality is absolutely essential, whether it's just to live a great life, or especially if you're looking to heal. So we'll come on to values and why they're so important for your vitality. First of all, I just want to say what my perception of values is. And basically, everyone has a different set of values. I still remember one time when I was working in the corporate world, and a corporation of our particular section tried to enforce a set of values upon us all, and everyone was just like, what's this? You know, these aren't my values. This doesn't mean anything to me. So your values are something that's very personal, and they are the states of being that you enjoy or want to spend as much time in as possible. So the thoughts and also the feelings that those states of being hold for you. For me, I certainly some very high ones have been freedom, love, fun, adventure, and MAD, or making a difference, or MAD. So those are 5 of my strongest values, and they've driven a lot of what I do, and I'll talk about that later. But your values change as well. So your values throughout your life, like now at the moment, got a new baby, so I've got my values are moving towards security at the moment, and keeping things consistent, as an example, so they can change through different things happening throughout your life. And also, I've achieved quite a lot of the values that I held dear, the freedom, love, fun, adventure, and making a difference. I have a lot of that in my life now, and so they're kind of just almost happening. And so other values, things like abundance, even a bit of consistency, something I would never have seen as a value in the past, are coming in as things that I'm driving towards now. So values change. So whether you're listening in live at the moment now, or if you are joining on the replay, it'd be great to just comment with something that you value, a high value for you. It doesn't have to be your highest. Just think about something, whether it is, whatever's a high value for you, a state of being that you really, really value, basically. So that'd be great, and you can do that. So many people, unfortunately, aren't living in line with their values in our society, because there's kind of a conformist set of values that people are expected to live by, fitting in with the sort of conformist way of being, really. If you're putting values in, great. I'm not seeing the comments coming up at the moment, but I will. I'll see them towards the end, and then I'll be able to comment. I'll do any questions at the end as well. So this was really my story, and if you're not living in line with your values, you can handle it for a while, for quite a long time, but it starts to wear you down. It becomes stressful and keeps you in that stress phase, where you are doing something that's kind of artificial to you. And this was really my story when I was working for a long time in the financial services industry in the UK. As you can imagine, for me, it didn't fit in with the freedom that I wanted, the fun. I was in a good relationship, a relationship I'm still in now. So the love side of things that value was fulfilled, because your values aren't, of course, fulfilled solely through what you do. You can fulfill them in all areas of your life. But I had a really big bugbear, which was the work that I was doing was like a trap, and it really permeated throughout my life. And it was really the opposite of freedom, because there was a huge amount of compliance and paperwork which just didn't fit in with how I envisaged my life should be. So there were two sides to that. Firstly, doing it would drain me of energy, but even more so than not doing it, which was really my default state in that job. Was I was good at the job. I was a good advisor, and good at like working with people, but I was terrible at dotting the I's and crossing the T's, and that caused stress, because I knew there was something going on there, which could potentially, in that industry, get me in a lot of trouble. So I ended up feeling stressed. Stress would lead to sickness. I wasn't having a lot of adventure. I was having fun at weekends, but it was I guess it was a stress causing fun, because it's a lot of partying, a lot of drowning my sorrows, etc. Even though I was generally pretty happy and cheerful a lot of the time, it was still, living a life of hedonism outside of the tedious and really not me work life that I was having. And many things were going on health wise. I was very overweight. I was drinking a lot. I was I'm sure it contributed to me being at the time considered subfertile, unlikely to ever have children naturally. I've got two children now, all totally naturally, which has been absolutely amazing. Really part from this journey that I've been on, of exploring all of this stuff, and just didn't have, I didn't have energy to do this stuff, and waking up with that feeling of dread. It starts on Sunday night, so it's even eating into your so-called free time, and then every evening you're thinking about it, unless you're out having a good time or whatever. Was really not very, not very enjoyable for me, basically. So, so I was running on empty until things changed, and I started working. And at this time, I wasn't conscious of my values, because values isn't something which is looked at that much in the energy therapy world, but it is an incredibly powerful thing to look at, and works brilliantly with tapping. But I was starting to do work which did fit in, because I was finding freedom in the work I was doing as an EFT practitioner. As I was building that practice, I was finding that I was making a difference in people's lives. Of course, financial advisors can make a difference in people's lives, very much so, and many do a fantastic job of that. But it wasn't for me, and it didn't feel like I was giving people freedom. It felt like I was involved in something I just didn't want to be in. Whereas doing at that time, I was just doing EFT, then matrix re-imprinting, and so I was starting unconsciously to be living more in line with my values. So I started becoming more healthy. Also, I'd become a dad by this stage. Now, you get that story. I'll probably do a live stream on it at some point. But if you sign up for my free guide, The 7 Pillars of Vitality, details are in the sort of blurb written around this video, then you'll get some of the information on that story and how that will change for me as well. So I started to move forward with my values. However, I went on a workshop with Steve Wells, who's a brilliant tapping practitioner from Australia, and does a lot of provocative work with a particular style he's developed, combining provocative therapy with tapping. It involves a lot of fun, a lot of good humour, and yeah, really working in a very different way than people might be used to. But one of the things that was really interesting in that was the values aspect of it. And well, I really started actually looking at values and then tapping on the things around values, and then really realizing what the drivers are around values. So when you know that, for example, you like freedom, love, fun, adventure, and making a difference as high values in your life, then you can start to make decisions so you have more of those things in your life. And I love my life now. I live out in a beautiful area of Spain, surrounded by very weird and wonderful people, all sorts of interesting stuff going on where I am, with my family, which is really important to me, fulfills that sort of love aspect. There's lots of adventure around here. You can go and get lost in the mountains if you want to. There's lots of cool stuff to do. There's a great community, and you can get involved with that to make a difference in people's lives. And the work that I'm doing also, I feel makes a difference to people. So I'm working with people globally, either individually and sometimes in group programs that I run as well. And I'm living those sorts of values. And what that actually does, because you're in tune with that, is it starts to increase this life force, this energy, this flow of vitality that you've got. I mean, it makes sense really. If you're doing the things that are in tune with your being, the states of being that you prefer, which is kind of your own personal version of happiness. Now, happiness isn't a value. I'm actually going to be interviewing a happiness specialist next week in a live stream in this group. So that's going to be great, looking at different levels of happiness. So yeah, looking forward to that, and look out for some information on that. But for me, the way I normally think of happiness is your own personal, like when you're living your values, or a lot of your high values to a high level, be that in your work, be that in your relationships, be that in where you live, who you're hanging out with, all those kinds of things. If it fulfills your values, you're going to have more energy, you're going to have more lust for life, you're going to have more vitality, more passion for the things that you're doing. So it's just leading to a better life. And yeah, so when you learn this stuff, for me, it worked really well. Now I've got this, I really love the way that we live. It's fantastic. It's worked for quite a few of my clients as well. One in particular that I can think of, when she explored her values. Again, she was someone who was not only stuck in a job that she really didn't like, but she was going to lose that job because she liked some aspects of it, of course, as we all do, but there were others she didn't, and that job was going to go because she didn't have the qualifications that were going to be necessary for her to continue with it at the end of the year. The values work really drove her to understand the things that she needed, which resolved a lot of her anxiety and the fears about life and being out in the world. And she's now involved in, basically she ended up working in a really exciting situation, moving abroad to a tropical place, and being involved with an organisation which was really in tune with the sort of things that she wanted to do, becoming more confident as a result of that, being more sky high with putting herself out there. And so values are very powerful there. Values are very important in the work that I've done with people on money blocks as well. So moving away from health, but of course intimately related. Money and health can impact on each other a lot. A lot of people say that health is your greatest form of wealth. But once you understand your values, then you can start to know why you actually need money in your life. So you're not just earning money for the sake of earning 5 grand a month or 10 grand a month or whatever you think your goal should be. You've actually got a purpose, and you can work backwards. And because of these values, I want to have these kinds of experiences in my life. I want to be able to help these kinds of people, which means, looking back at it, it's important for me to create this level of finance or wealth in my life. And once you understand this as well, you don't necessarily even need that much money, because there can be other options. There can be other ways of doing things. So you're not using money as a way to stop you doing all these things that you love. So understanding your values can increase your wealth, because you've just got so much more purpose to create wealth. It can increase your health because your vitality is much higher, which means that if you are in a condition of feeling unwell, you've got that much more to look forward to through knowing your vitality, through knowing your values, that you can move towards, having this new level of health, new level of basically things to really look forward to, things to live for, really. And the values are the absolute key to that. Now, like I said, so many people don't look at values when they're doing work. They go straight on to goals. And that means that they aren't, they can often be basing their goals on what other people have said they should have, which is a very common thing. Your goals are your targets in corporate life, or your goals are things that society thinks you should have. But if that doesn't fit in with your values, then it ain't going to work for you. So knowing your values before you set your goals for your life, and if you don't like the word goals, you can call them intentions or whatever, it doesn't matter. So long as you are, so long as you know your values first, and then do what you can to fulfill those as much as possible. So basically, when you're living more in line with your values, it really does build your vitality. It really enriches your life. It gives you much more potential to make it through those peaks and troughs of a healing process. It can even reduce pain because you're not so in it. You can be moving forwards. You've got something to something to sort of propel you into living an exciting, maybe excitement jumps ahead there. Maybe excitement isn't a high value. You might want a lot of people want comfort, security, relaxation, peace, tranquility. Those could be high values for a lot of people, and that's completely cool, because if those are your values, then you can create your life around those values. There's no values are better than others. It's now you will think personally for you, your values are the best, but that's because they are the best for you, but they're not going to be for somebody else. So trying to impose values on other people isn't a good thing, and that can cause health troubles as well. Think about in a relationship. If you're in a relationship and you've got very different values, that's not necessarily a bad thing. But it can be a great thing for a couple to understand each other's values. And when they've got that, they can see the similarities, they can see the differences. If you're into this kind of work that I do, you could use EFT tapping or other processes to clear the charge around the blocks between the two values. It's just a really good thing to do. It affects pretty much every area of your life once you understand your values. And I would recommend probably that you have a look at your values again every year or 2 years, just to check in if they still are your values, because they can change according to your life circumstances and what's important to you. Just quickly mention values clashes. Often you see people and they list high values of, and a good example might be freedom and security. So they want both of those things, and they kind of clash because security and safety don't really necessarily always go that well with freedom. So in that case, you might find that there's an energy around that, and you can basically tap through that and find what's really important and find out one of them might actually be a need. You might feel a neediness at the time for that thing, rather than it being a true value of yours, and then you can adjust accordingly. What if you can't live your values at the time, really, where you are in your life? You might, like a lot of people who are in jobs, need the money because, of course, we've got bills, we've got mortgages, we've got rent, all the things we need to pay for, Christmas coming up, etc. So you, if you can't just go, right, I'm leaving, I want to go and write a book because that's what I value. You can use tapping or similar interventions to deal with the emotional stress caused by the thing, which is causing you not to live your values anymore. And once you know that, then you're able to just become more powerful and look at creating more of this stuff for your values in the future. So, okay, right. So, value. How do you actually explore your values? Well, I mean, you really need to just sit down. One way is just sit down, grab a piece of paper, write down all of the things which are which you value, and then look at them. And if they aren't a feeling or a state of being, then work out what the feeling or state of being is for those. So, for example, if you wrote down going on 6 holidays a year, then you need to work out what feelings or states of being those actually mean to you. So it could be freedom, it could be peace, could be love, could be connection, whatever you get from doing those things, until you end up with a list of your values. Another one is actually to use a list of values and work out which ones resonate with you, and then use a process to actually not be to work out which ones are your top values, so you really understand what's going on there. I've got a values exercise, and if you are interested in exploring your values and you want a copy of my values exercise, which includes some tapping processes that you can do to explore your values and work out the values clashes, work out what's really important to you, just drop me an email at sam@eftnow.co.uk, and I'll send you over these PDFs of the values exercise. Also, join the community as well. Join Feel Better, Heal Better if you're not already a member. Get the 7 Pillars of Vitality free offer, which is covers values will cover a lot of the things in there. It can work on your energy, it can work on the physical things that you can do, your connection to source, your connection to spirit, the meaning of your life. So many things are influenced by your values, and ultimately this is what's going to give you the energy, the vitality, the lust for life, and everything which can carry you through even from some dark times, which you can then look back at and yes, I was able to get through that. So just like to offer that again. If you want my values exercise that I use directly with individual clients and I've used in my group programs as well, then please drop me a line at sam@eftnow.co.uk. Just put in the headline values exercise please, or something like that, and I'll get that sent over to you within a day or two after you send me that request. So that's all I've got to cover on values. Hopefully that's indicated why knowing your values is important for your vitality and why your vitality is important for your health. I'm just going to check if there's any questions that have come up. Okay, cool. Someone's put one of their values is quality time with close friends and family. That's actually an experience. So what I would say is, what does that bring you? Is it love? Is it connection? Is it peace. So those are the things that you're actually looking for in your values. You know, many people will get different things out of those experiences, basically. So it's just important to know. But like, people write family as a value. Actually, it's something different. But that family is an experience and being with people. Now, many people would understand what you meant by that, but then they would understand it from their perception. And so it's, what does it mean to you? Is it connection? Is it love? Or a big, wide circle of things which are so important to you. So, yep, I'd just like to say now, thank you very much for watching this sort of talk on values. I hope it was useful. Hope it enables you to have more vitality, more energy in your life. And if you, of course, download the free offers, join the community. And if you want my values exercise, then feel free to email me at sam@eftnow.co.uk and I'll get that fired over to you. So I hope you have an enjoyable rest of the day wherever you are, and look forward to connecting with you again soon. Bye for now.